Hello, welcome to Nihon Tonobi Beauty of Japanese Sword. My name is Hisashi Saito, owner of Seiko-do in Ginza, Tokyo. In this fifth video, we will explore the world of Tanto.
While long tachi and katana are most commonly associated with Japanese swords, the term collectively refers to a range of styles. Varieties of swords include tanto daggers, defined as being less than 30 centimeters in length, wakizashi, which are between 30 to 60 centimeters in length, ken, double-edged swords used for religious purposes, and even yari spears and naginata and nagamaki halberds. Today we'll focus on tanto and wakizashi.
There are very good examples of Tanto dating back to a Kamakura period.
It was actually in the Kamakura period that tanto began to be produced in larger quantities and of excellent quality. Many scholars will point to tosu, or small knives worn slung from the belt in simple mountings, as the origins of tanto. Examples of tosu date back to the Nara period and are referenced in the Nihon Shoki, compiled nearly 1300 years ago. But it wasn't until the Kamakura period that close combat fighting styles, likely influenced by the Mongol invasions, stimulated the need for tanto. Here we have a Juyo token piece from the period attributed to Norikuni. Norikuni was active in the early 13th century and was from a famous lineage in the history of Japanese swordsmiths. His father was Kunitomo, the eldest of 6 brothers who established the Awatoguchi school in Yamashiro. And his grandson was Toshiro Yoshimitsu, arguably the greatest maker of tanto in history. This piece features a slight inward curvature, a beautiful koitame grain, and a hamon combining suguha and notare with nie and kintsugi. Extant examples by Norikuni are quite rare, and this particular piece was previously in the collection of the imperial household.
There are also great examples of Tanto from the Rai school.
Interestingly, there are precious few examples of tanto signed by Kuniyuki, who founded the Rai school, and his son Kunitoshi. There are, however, excellent examples of tanto by Dai Kunitoshi and Kunitoshi's son, Dai Kunimitsu. As a side note, the relationship between Kunitoshi, signed with 2 characters, and Dai Kunitoshi, signed with 3, in terms of being the same person or different, is an ongoing and fascinating historical debate. Here we have a tanto signed by Dai Kunimitsu. Dai Kunimitsu was active in the early 14th century and was profoundly skilled. He had a particularly broad range of styles in terms of sugata and hamon. This piece features an interesting hamon combining suguha and gunome, and we see ashi, yo, and tsunagashi. We also see characteristic dai traits, including dai-hada grain and muneyaki. This tanto is accompanied by an interesting koshirai, which likely attests to a thoroughbred provenance.
The shape is very representative of Tanto from the late Kamakura period.
The shapes of tanto would evolve much over time. As we move from the Kamakura period into the Nambokusho and Monomaki periods, tanto grow in size and evolve outward curvatures. The fukura, or shape of bulge toward the kisaki point, is also quite characteristic. These aspects would continually evolve over time. As a comparison, let's look at an example from the Monomaki period. Here we have a very typical Juyo token wakizashi signed by Morimitsu and dated 1413. This piece is relatively large, and we see a grain mixing itame and mogume, a straight utsuri, and a gunome hamon with thick nioi. This piece is very typical of the Oe Bizen style. While many schools of swordsmiths existed in Bizen, they converged in the Monomaki period, practically absorbed into the Osafune school. Oe Bizen refers to the style of swordsmiths in this period, which spanned 1394 to 1428.
this type of horimono is also common in OAB Zen.
The shape of the grooves and the type of engravings are indeed very typical of oebizen. And this is a good chance to talk about horimono engravings. Hi, or grooves, are commonly found on Japanese swords and come in a range of styles. The grooves were originally intended to reduce weight and improve cutting ability, but increasingly became decorative. In addition to grooves, other types of horimono engravings included stylized depictions of swords, dragons, Sanskrit characters, and Buddhist deities. While horimono originally had religious connotations, they became decorative and sometimes quite elaborate. There are actually swordsmiths and artisans known for their ability to execute beautiful horimono. So by understanding Tanto, we're able to appreciate yet another aspect of the beauty and the history of Japanese swords.
Thank you for watching this 5th episode of Nihon Tonobi Beauty of Japanese Sword. I hope variety found in Japanese sword can be another opportunity to explore the world of Nihonto.